All right, I've been doing some reading, I've been doing some research, and I think I know what Kaido's Devil Fruit power is going to be. Let's go. Hey, what's going on, everybody? RogersBase here with another One Piece theory / speculation video, and the time is now. We are going to be talking about Kaido. Now, I have thought about this for a long time. I've waited on doing this video specifically because I thought near the end of Dressrosa we would get some type of allusion or reference to Kaido. That ended up happening in 793, so I've basically been planning for this video since then. I've been doing some research. I've been going back and reading old chapters, seeing what we already know about Kaido, things that have already been confirmed within the story, and I think I have a pretty good idea on where we're going to meet Kaido and what his Devil Fruit power is going to be. Now, let's actually start with the thing that basically kicked off my speculation and the reason why I want to make this video, and that is chapter 793 of One Piece. Now, there is a panel in chapter 793 where we see Drake, who we already know, based on his cover story and based on the first time we see him in the New World, is somehow in alliance or working with Kaido. We saw him initially try to take down Scotch, who is one of Kaido's minions, near the very beginning of the New World, and then again we saw him in the Caribou cover story working alongside Kaido's minions. And then, in chapter 793, when we get another glimpse of Drake, he appears to be on an island in which Kaido is currently stationed, because we see another one of the minions who is working with Drake scream out Kaido's name. Now, when we see him scream out Kaido's name, we see a giant shadow, mist, and bonsai trees. Those are the only things we see. And I've seen a lot of people say online that they believe that shadow is actually Kaido. They believe that is Kaido. I think those people are wrong. I think the shadow is actually Kaido's fortress, and I'm going to explain why I believe that in a little bit. But I believe that the big silhouette thing that we see in 793 is actually Kaido's fortress, his castle, whatever you want to call it. And based on the mist and the bonsai trees, I believe we are seeing Wano Country for the first time. Now, Kaido being in Wano Country shouldn't really come as a huge surprise to anybody who's been reading closely, simply because even before chapter 793, we had two big references to Kaido in Wano Country. The first took place in Thriller Bark, where we met Moria, and Moria was talking to Luffy about the fact that his entire crew was slaughtered by Kaido in the New World, and then we see that one of his current crewmates, or at least current in the Thriller Bark arc, was the general zombie Ryuma, who is the zombie of the legendary samurai from Wano Country, who was also in possession of his sword, which Zoro now owns, which we are going to definitely get into when we get to Wano. And the second big reference to Kaido and Wano Country took place near the beginning of Dressrosa, when Law talked about the fact that their alliance is going to go after Kaido, and as soon as Law mentioned Kaido, Kinemon and Momonosuke freak out. You could see it in their face. They've heard of Kaido before, and when they question them about it, like, oh, do you know who Kaido is? They're like, no, we don't know anything about Kaido, whatever, let's move on. So, naturally, they know about Kaido, and Kaido somehow has to either have sent them away to go become artificial Devil Fruit users, or he has some type of relation to the samurai. He has to. Now, what I actually believe Kaido's relationship to the rest of the samurai is I actually think he is the shogun of the samurai. I think he is the shogun of Wano Country, and I don't think he's the rightful shogun. I actually think he became shogun by killing the previous shogun, who I think was actually Ryuma, because at the end of Monsters, Ryuma is basically called the king, and the equivalent of a king in the world of the samurai would be the shogun. So I actually think that Kaido came to Wano Country when he was young, killed Ryuma, took his place, became the shogun, and then kicked out the old royal family, or the old, rightful ruler of the samurai. And I actually think that Momo is supposed to be the rightful shogun, and that he will eventually take Kaido's place. Now, why I believe Momo will be that person, let's talk about it. So as many of you guys probably know, Momonosuke is actually based on the character of Momotaro, which is a peach boy. You could already see this looking at Momo's head, because Momo's head looks like a peach. And based on that story, which is about a young peach boy basically saving his country from an evil demon king and becoming friends with animals along the way and using those animals to attack Kaido, we already know that Kaido is the king of 100 beasts. We already know that he has a whole artificial devil fruit army of animals, and we know that Momo is based off Momotaro. Now, with that in mind, let me read you the summary of Momotaro, and let's just try to connect One Piece characters with this, and then I think from that you're probably going to guess what I believe Kaido's devil fruit ability is. Okay. Momo left his parents to fight a band of evil Oni, demons or ogres, big Japanese demons and ogres, on a distant island, Wano country. En route, Momo met and befriended a talking dog, monkey, and a pheasant, and I'm going to stop right there because I don't think this actually relates to the story. Maybe it does kind of. The monkey could obviously be Monkey D. Luffy, but actually Oda has referenced this story before, so this is just confirmation that Oda knows about the story, and this could potentially tie into Wano Country as well. And the dog, pheasant, and monkey are actually referenced to in the names of the 3 pre-time skip admirals, Akainu, red dog, Aokiji, blue pheasant, and Kizaru, yellow monkey. Now let's continue with the story. Who agreed to help him in his quest. At the island, Momo and his animal friends, now there's going to be a lot of zone-using artificial devil fruit animals on the island, because we already know that Kaido has an army, penetrated the Demon's Fortress. Demon's Fortress, we saw this in chapter 793. Kaido's fortress looks like an old demon fortress. If you go look up the Momotaro story and you look at the pictures of the Demon Fortress, it looks like that silhouette. Penetrated the Demon's Fortress and beat the band of demons into submission. Now, right there, beating someone into submission is exactly what Luffy would do. Luffy doesn't kill anybody, he beats them into submission. Now, if Momo is traveling with Luffy's alliance, and Momo and Luffy and Law and the samurai and some of the zone users who basically end up going against Kaido, probably X-Drake, I could see X-Drake joining the alliance and going against Kaido. They all attack Kaido in his fortress, which we've seen before in 793. I think Kaido is actually a demon king, and I believe his devil fruit, 100 Beast Kaido's devil fruit, is the Oni Oni no Mi, which is basically a mythical zone that turns the user into a Japanese ogre or demon. Now, obviously, it would make a lot of sense that the main bad guy, the main antagonist of a Wano Country arc, would be a demon shogun, simply because the 2 big things that we know Wano is going to surround upon are samurai and Japanese myth. We already know that, based on everything that we've heard about Wano, based on what we've seen of Wano from monsters, and, I mean, an Oni is arguably the most popular mythological creature in Japanese mythos. I mean, there's actually an emoji for Oni. If you check your phone, I swear to God, there is an Oni emoji. It's very popular. And a shogun is the king of the samurai. And the king in the story was a demon king. It all ties together and all makes a lot of sense. But actually, Kaido being an Oni, being a demon king, makes even more sense once you actually look back at the names that Kaido has been referred to as prior to this point in the story. 100 Beast Kaido and the strongest creature in the world. Now, if you look at the Oni myth, if you look at how Onis are depicted, normally they're depicted as these red creatures with fangs from a cat-like creature and ox horns, and they're basically an amalgamation of 100 different type of animals. 100 Beast Kaido. Now, I think a lot of people have heard that name initially and thought, oh, okay, he's called 100 Beast Kaido because he has this big army of devil fruit users. And it could be that too. But I actually think it has a double meaning. And I think the double meaning is that he's actually made of 100 different animals. He's made of all different types of animals, just like the traditional depictions of Onis are. And on top of that, Kaido is never referred to as the strongest animal in the world. He's referred to as either the strongest beast or the strongest creature, which is exactly what an Oni would be. But, even furthering this point, when you think about that phrase, the strongest creature in the world, there's actually a very popular phrase in Japan, Oni ni Kanabo, which is referring to an Oni with an iron club. And you usually say that to refer to something that is stronger than strong, or nearly invincible. Oni ni Kanabo. Strongest creature in the world. He would be stronger than strong. So again, it makes sense that he would be a demon king or a demon shogun. Also, how cool would it be, just as a side note, for Kaido to have this massive iron club? That would just be the coolest thing. So that's my guess. I believe that Kaido is actually the owner of the Oni Oni no Mi, a mythical zone that will turn him into a demon king. It makes a lot of sense for the ruler of a giant zone beast army to be a demon king, and it would also tie in directly with all the Momotaro references that we've had before, with Wano Country and the samurai. Just everything lines up and makes a lot of sense. So that is my final prediction. I thought about this a lot, going through and researching. I honestly do believe that this is going to be Kaido's devil fruit come October when we finally see Kaido, when we finally see Wano Country or whatever. I know that something in October is going to relate to Wano Country, so I'm assuming that maybe we'll see him by then, or hopefully by the end of the year. But regardless, That is my guess. Guys, leave a like on this video if you agree with my theory. Leave any comments below if you find other evidence proving that Kaido could very well be an Oni, any of the references or things like that. Or give your own theories on who you think Kaido is. And also, please be sure to subscribe because I bring you guys One Piece content all the time. So until next time, I will talk to you guys later. Bye-bye!